we go.
Let's do it.
Thanks for coming in, man.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Edge of the page. This is my second show, so
I'm happy to
I don't know
to contribute any way I can. We go back a long way.
We're gonna see how we go. We don't have the first one up yet, but
Okay.
we're gonna see how that goes.
Awesome. How long does the editing process take?
I don't know. We're sort of like in the middle of working on a couple of things, and
Okay.
we'll see how that goes. So usually I like to start. First of all, we're with Jose Holder here, and you're there's what don't you do, man? Just,
Well, we've known each other a long time.
yes,
right?
yeah. Let's do that. We've known each other for like a good 20 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
there's nothing that
we've seen each other grow.
We're gonna try to talk like we don't know each other. It's gonna be hard, but. Yeah, I mean, basically, you've been an artist for how long has it been?
A very long time. Very long time.
Very long time.
A professional artist. I don't know, maybe 20 some odd years.
Right.
Right. We met at Apocalypse Studios.
Right.
Way back in the day. I had a school on St. Catherine. Not far from, actually, between two comic book stores.
Yeah, we used to always jump around there and
Exactly.
Astro Books and
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Captain Quebec, I think.
Quebec, Million Comics.
That's right. That's right.
That used to be if one store didn't have something we wanted, we would find it at the next one.
And so I opened up the school there, and we were teaching all things comic book, right?
Yeah,
and some storyboarding, I think.
a little bit. Yeah,
A little bit.
I mean, it's sort of related. So,
Yeah.
Sort of. You can sort of work on it.
We had a younger crowd back then, if you remember.
Much younger crowd. I'm
Yeah.
still in touch with some of those guys too.
No
Good
kidding,
guys. Yeah.
It's funny because Yannick was with us for a bit.
Yeah, that's where I met him too.
Yeah, yeah. So we became, I guess, good friends at the school, and then we became roomies when I moved the school to a different location on the same street on St. Catherine.
Right.
And you were
A
the
little
key
further
holder.
down. I was like the gatekeeper.
The gatekeeper.
I was like literally there all the time and just working on my stuff, and it was a good few years, man. Those were like that molded me into an adult. Some kind of an adult.
I'm not there yet.
Per se.
I'm not there yet. No.
But it was pretty good. It helped me with work ethic and responsibility and all that good stuff. And
We had like a studio atmosphere going alongside the classes, and in the beginning we had walls. Do you remember? We actually had walls.
The walls, yeah.
Yeah. Separate classrooms and stuff. I think we had 2 classrooms and like a back room where the odd amazing artist would come through, and
we used to have Jeff Isherwood would pop in once in a while. Sal Good Sam would pop in once in a while.
Max,
And a few others. I mean, and some guys that today they're working different industries.
I know.
Video games,
It's crazy.
comics,
It's crazy.
storyboards.
So we moved to the Belgo building. You remember?
Yep.
And that was a different atmosphere completely. That was like it was like a jungle gym. There was so many things going on different floors.
Oh yeah,
Right.
across from that dance studio. I'm not gonna forget that.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Yeah. Sometimes going into the hallway was just as fun as actually working.
The people
But
you
that's
would
for a whole
meet.
other reason.
The people you would meet. Yeah. So from there, I think I got an opportunity to do commercials while I was there, and that's when I launched my storyboarding career.
Right.
We were all together, me, you, and I think there were a few other renters. Yannick rented with us and whatever, and so I was going back and forth between teaching, and I started my video game work at that same time, and that helped me get into film.
Right. And I mean that was sort of like a dream, for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought of comic books as the pinnacle of illustration, just because it covered so many You know, so many traditional drawing techniques that you needed to know, fundamentals. And once those fundamentals were down, you could break rules.
Yeah.
So it allowed me to jump into storyboarding and then get closer to my dream field, which was film.
Yeah.
And always come back and flirt with comic books whenever a contract
and
was
it's funny because it was just right in the beginning, early 2000s, right in the beginning of when comic books was sort of coming into its own as a mainstream medium, in many ways.
Yeah,
you know, I think it was right before the X-Men movie came out.
Yeah, that's
I think
right,
we actually all went to the X-Men movie. We were just like, enough drawing. You know, let's go see a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And
part of the world, and yet completely separate from it.
Yeah.
And it's still like that today.
It's still like that today.
You know, it's like, it's incredible. There are people who love comic books and people who love films, and still...
I'm literally still explaining to people that Black Panther was a comic book. And it's like the biggest thing in the world right now. We're going to talk about that.
Cool.
Actually, I'd like to start talking a little bit of some hot topics. And then we'll come back to you.
I'm following your lead.
We're going to talk about Black Panther because, I mean, I know you've seen it.
Yeah.
I went to see it last week, and
what'd you think of it?
It blew my brain apart. I honestly could never imagine a comic book movie at this level, like as far culturally.
Yeah. Have you gotten feedback from other comic book lovers or just people in general on how they
I mean, we're still sort of in the I don't want to spoil anything phase, you know, but I from the people that I have talked to and just the reaction when I went, because I went the Thursday, which is like the first day I like to go with the people and like with the fans. The Thursday viewing is like fans
with our people,
and it wasn't just our people; it was our people. It was like. It was people of all walks of life, and that's something I've never seen one of those movies before.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen people show up in like full African garb to a movie theater before.
I got the chance. I won some tickets, some Showm tickets, to for an advanced screening. Right. So we were about 8 days ahead.
What was that like?
At Scotiabank downtown.
Right.
And they took all of our cell phones and they put them in paper bags.
Yeah, they do that.
They did that?
Yeah, they've done that to me at other screenings, yeah.
Well, I'm still a little bit in shock.
Yeah, you're still traumatized?
I'm still traumatized. I'm still not sure if this is my phone, actually.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, it's really scary.
I'm like, no, what are you doing? That's everything that's my life.
That's right. But, you know, I had a chance to see it with a packed crowd, and they actually warned us.
Yeah,
which is something else I never experienced.
Yeah,
that the room was oversold, right? So there would be standing room for. I'm like, what?
No, yeah, that happens.
Wow, at advanced screenings, this happens?
I got a Deadpool one when Deadpool came out, and we didn't get in right away because of that.
What now?
Because we didn't get in because we weren't there early enough, and it was overbooked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was an experience for me. I loved it. My wife loved it. And, I got to tell you, man, I was so excited that this movie was coming out. It's like I don't even have the words
I know.
to express it.
It's funny because I don't think people were expecting that.
Yeah.
From a movie with a character that was probably, I think... like less popular than Doctor Strange and a little more popular than Ant-Man.
Yeah,
you know, and he's like right in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah, but we all had the diehards. We all had Blade at the back of our head.
Everybody does. Yeah,
you know, we're like, if this does what Blade did, even at that level, it'll be a hit above and beyond.
Yeah.
But at this point, Marvel had it's already figured out the formula. It knows the formula.
It carries the formula from the, it's very similar to Iron Man in a lot of ways, or a lot of those movies, It's
got the humor down
got
perfectly.
all that stuff, but I think what really, I always knew that he could work.
Yeah.
I always knew that some level, especially when like the Hudlin stuff came out, and they sort of really started pushing that advanced world in Africa kind of concept. I knew that in a movie that would be it would piss off a lot of people, and it would like inspire a lot of people too at the same time. And I think
for me,
it's done it. They did it. They did the you know.
For me, I remember as a kid having those oversized comic books that Marvel used to put out.
Oh yeah,
you remember those?
Yeah.
And in one, it was Savage Land. So the whole Black Panther thing was tied in with Kazar and that, you know what I mean? There was a connection between those two worlds. And like somewhere in Africa, there's this preserved prehistoric land or dinosaurs still roam. And I love that story so much. And of course, T'Challa, when he would join the Avengers world, he was always so revered.
And that's what I always loved about him.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could talk politics. And it was him and Vision. They were just above.
And I always loved that even when you didn't have like you get Avengers comics and it would be maybe you wouldn't have Iron Man in there or Captain America, but T'Challa would always be there.
Yeah.
And as long as T'Challa's there, you're good. You know, like he's a very revered and classy hero.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah.
And I think they did a really good job at bringing him, like even in Civil War. He's the guy in the movie that you're just like, wow, you know, like
he was the Boba Fett in that film.
He realized he was wrong, you know, and that's what I like about him. He realizes like he's wrong, things his family's done is wrong. Right. Don't want to spoil too much, but you know, and he forgives his enemies, and he, you know, that's a hero, man. And like,
but he's also
people need that.
He's also a reluctant hero in that he doesn't feel like he's ready to hold that status, you know, that level of importance for his people, you know, and that's clearly that relationship that he has with his father that plays out so well.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like Shakespeare.
But man, I gotta tell you, we have Panther fever at home, you know, and I'm still. There's like 100 videos that pop up online every day about this craze just because it's doing so well, and I'm constantly showing my wife.
And I don't know if people are you know loving it necessarily because it's a comic book movie, and that's what I think is so important. I think people are loving it because it's just a cultural.
I think it's transcended it at this point.
It's transcended it, and that's what that genre needed. Because there was a bit of fatigue.
That's what Hollywood needed. Let's be honest. Right? It needed that kick into that direction, and of course, sci-fi and fantasy. That's always been a nice gauge for social justice issues, and I mean that's what Star Trek, you know, aspired to be, just like a litmus test for issues that you can't do directly, you can do indirectly, and the superhero genre. I mean, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and all of these great films, they touch on these subjects, but in fantastical ways.
Slightly, you know, like an acceptable way. You know, that everybody can sort of get behind.
Well, when the genre works well, I think when it works well, it's doing that. You're right. It's capitalizing on issues of the day.
It's taking something that we know very well, and then it's giving us a really cool outlet for it.
That's it.
Really cool. Really awesome stuff.
Anyways, listen, I got to tell you, whenever I see anything about it, I'm almost to tears.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly.
Just because.
For me, it just made me so proud of being comic book.
Yeah.
That comic books were able to give this to people. You know, because people are like, I'm seeing people taking pictures at this thing, and they feel like they're part of something.
Well, the poster alone, I got to tell you. I know in Radioland you guys can't really see me, but I'm a black guy. Just so you know,
we're both people of color.
That's right. So just to see that poster and to see the representation on screen, I got to tell you, it warms the.
It did.
You know, the inside.
It felt crazy to like go and get like the popcorn head of like Black Panther. Like, this is Black Panther.
I know.
Like,
I know.
I mean, I was really excited that Ant-Man did well, and Guardians of the Galaxy. These are comic books that we didn't even talk about. You know what I mean? On a regular basis. These are things that we sort of, if we did, we'd be making fun of them. Let's be honest.
But Ant-Man in Iron Man's universe, which is how I was introduced to Ant-Man growing up, was awesome.
Yeah.
Primarily because of the artist that was doing it at the time. But that's how we discovered some of these artists, because Marvel always had this sort of like a spillover.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where you'd have like a guest appearance.
And I know that frustrates a lot of mainstream fans.
I know.
But for me, I love the shared stuff.
Yeah.
I love to see characters jump over into other movies. And I was saying to a friend the other day, now we can go back and we watch these movies, and it's like going back and reading old comics.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've never had before.
I know.
That's literally a whole new thing.
I love how they transition that whole... you'll have to buy issue 26 of Iron Man to hear the rest of this story.
Yeah.
They've done that with film, but it was always meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So... Transmedia,
very cool.
I have to say, is the way.
What would you like to see them sort of do next with the Black Panther franchise? Because for me, there's like so many things.
I know.
Without spoiling, well, it doesn't matter. Spoiler alert, whatever.
I won't spoil anything. But I would like to see, because the character's positioning himself in. I mean, Iron Man blew up everything.
I see him as a leader.
Before.
Yeah,
and right now he's primed to become the next.
Yeah.
Innovator, and
that's exactly how I see it.
You know what I mean? And sort of take over the Avengers, bring it into a new era. That's
definitely what I see happening.
You know? But it also opens themselves up to a whole new range of biblical enemies with this new technology.
Yeah.
Right? Because if that technology is mined, oh my God. I mean, what's beyond Thanos? You know what I mean? So...
I mean, for me, I think this entire the Fox 20th Century Fox situation. I think it's to bring Doom in. That's what I want to see, man. I think the one other world leader villain to face the world leader hero would be Doom for me.
You know what, I'm going to be honest, what I'd love to see, and I've yet to see in film as a whole, but in this genre, I think it would work so well, because it works so well in horror per se. Yeah. Is the emergence of a villain film. Villain franchise. Yeah. I mean, we have our Freddy, we have our Jason, we have our Michael Myers.
A solo villain.
Doom would be perfect.
Doom would be perfect.
You know, and we know he's going to get away with it, but what fractures would he cause?
That's interesting.
In the superhero universe? Well, sort of like a Secret Wars. Yeah. All of those guys came out of it. Yeah. Right? But the bad guys I'm talking about. Yeah. But, there's always a loss on the superhero side. And it always seems
like when they do a villain like Venom, he's a hero.
But Venom's the beginning, eh?
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah. It's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about that trailer, though.
I think they're holding back. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm really excited for is the rumors that Woody Harrelson's playing Carnage.
You kidding?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the rumor. They haven't shown him yet.
Okay.
We don't know, but I mean, I think that would be the guy, because I've loved him, and I probably would have had him for Vulture.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably would have
been a
saved
great choice
Keaton for Norman Osborn or something. But for me, I can't. When I look at Woody Harrelson, I'm thinking that's the Vulture.
Listen,
but they did a good job with Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton could recite the phone book. Yeah. I'd pay to see it.
Yeah, that scene in the movie where he's in the car, was for me the best scene in that entire movie,
hands down. Yeah,
I
call it emotional currency.
Yeah,
it's really hard to write.
Yeah,
but wow.
Yeah. So just like moving on to more like the more comic book world.
Comic book.
You heard about this new Marvel relaunch?
Yes. I've only.
I mean, we've already talked about it at the comic shop today, and because that's what everybody's talking about in the comic shops, and it's just sort of
what's the issue?
It's basically they're relaunching everything from number one again, from what we can see. And is it a total reboot? The storyline is not going to be rebooted, I don't think, because we still see sort of Miles Morales running around and Miss Marvel and stuff like that. So I think they're just, as they're doing, they're going to keep their history intact.
Right.
And
are they modernizing these reboots?
Well, they're
to keep in step with the films and the
exactly like the new Avengers was just the lineup was just announced. That was the first book with McGinnis as the artist and Jason Aaron, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, Jason Aaron as the writer.
If what you're alluding to, if what's actually about to transpire is a coherence, right, with the film and the television shows.
They're definitely going to be spotlighting, like, the Avengers lineup is basically like we got Iron Man, Thor, and Cap,
right,
and then you have like Ghost Rider, which is like we just got him on the TV series, and he was great.
Yeah.
Black Panther, obviously.
Right.
That's one of the main characters. Yeah. She-Hulk.
Oh.
And it's like sort of the new ragey. I don't know if you've seen that. She was a little bit more ragey than normal.
Okay.
That's the best I could say. It's Jen Walters, and she's like a little bit more angrier than normal.
I would pay twice as much to see a She-Hulk film.
Me too.
Than any other film.
I don't know what they're waiting. I guess it's just really hard to do.
A new Hulk? Are you kidding me?
But it's just
take my money.
It's just like I don't know why they just can't do like a full CG.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of who else is in that team.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you.
Those are the main ones.
If this is a way to sort of merge the cinematic universe with the comic books and the television shows, and
they've been trying to do it for years. But
I'm all for it. I don't really understand why these things can't coexist along with a lot of the more fantastical books that are still.
Do you mean to make it all one story, or
no? But I mean, if you're modernizing a chapter of Captain America's history. And it coincides with all of the other transmedia projects, then that can be that. And there's no reason why you can't go fantastical and, with some of the other books. And it's happened in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that it's necessary to wipe out everything that's come before.
No, I don't think they plan on doing that at all. And they've announced Black Panther.
Okay.
Of course, that's the second one that came out because they have to.
Giddy up, yeah.
And it's the guy that's been writing it for a while, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Okay.
I hope that I pronounced that right. And he's a very notable writer, like political writer, and Daniel Acuna, who's doing the art, and he's a very competent artist.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've read Coates' Panther stuff.
Okay.
He's been writing it for like a while, and it's touch and go for me personally. I think it's very heady and
right.
There's a lot of talking, of talking, and I want to see like boom pow. It's. I think that's what I personally like. A lot of comic book fans like to read, but.
Yeah, when it's a good balance of both. I mean,
it's a good balance of both. It works, you know. But I just, we'll see how that goes. And the next one is Donnie Cates. Okay. I can't read my own handwriting. Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman on Venom. And that's the next one they announced.
Okay.
Because I guess they want to coincide with the Venom film.
That's right. I think it's a good move. I'm going to be honest with you.
And, yeah.
I think I try and get all my friends that are either comic book artists or writers of comics to start jumping the medium, because these are different audiences that use different platforms to engage. Yeah. And there's no reason why you shouldn't have like a podcast and you know what I mean, and a short little comic book and maybe an online presence, a webtoon feel.
Well, Marvel is also even starting to do a Wolverine sort of podcast storyline.
I was telling people this for years,
and it's got to be like old school radio.
That's right. That's
smart.
That's where I'm headed. I was telling people for years, you know what, the comic book medium sits very well on an online platform, and it needs to be on Netflix, because this is how we disseminate information, right? So it just makes sense if you're on your iPad or whatever it is, or your watch, or
that's what that's what a lot more people like, is the stuff to have on their computer.
Yeah, you're reading your digital comic and you can go straight to the film.
And Marvel is smart by giving that little digital code.
That's right.
In every comic book now.
Yeah.
And
we should be picking those codes up at theaters. You know what I mean? That would be the way to go. So I was telling everybody, this is the way it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and it's funny because then Daredevil was announced.
Yeah.
Right. And for the last, I don't know how many months, I've been telling people, you know what, audio is the future. So you're in a good spot, Dave. An awesome spot, because we're gonna get back to old school radio serials and cliffhangers, and
I think that's what people want.
old long that like
Something
that
to
Lone
listen to on the
Ranger
way to
type
work.
stuff.
Yeah.
You can multitask. So I'm going to be doing that with my projects, and I'm trying to get other people to sort of
Amazing.
jump on that bandwagon too.
Amazing. Yeah. So anyway, CB Cebulski, who's the new editor-in-chief.
That's right. Is
over
that
at
awesome?
Marvel.
Is that awesome?
Have you met him?
Yes, actually. He
most people that I've talked to have met him.
he changed my life. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If it weren't for him, I don't think I'd still be getting comic book work. I mean, he.
For real?
Yeah, because do you remember I entered a contest online? It was Comic Book Idol. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Well, from there, I think Mark Silvestri and a bunch of other guys were judges, and I got into one after that called Chester Quest.
Okay.
And that was Cebulski's own contest for a talent search for Marvel, and basically the top 100 got to have contracts.
Okay.
I think I was 101 or 102 or something.
Wow.
But he contacted me personally. He told me some of the editors really, really like my stuff, and I was like, that's awesome. Well, can I meet them, whoever they are? And he got me in touch with Marvel, and that was my Marvel gig.
Wow. Yeah, and you worked on Elsa Bloodstone, right?
That came from that. So my one and only. But from there, of course, doors opened, right? So
For sure.
yeah.
For sure. You got on everybody's radar.
A few people's radar.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, and for an artist, being diverse is the best way to survive. So
Yeah.
it really helped me out.
I think a lot of the relaunch, the stuff with the relaunch, I think is the result of Bendis, too, leaving Marvel.
That's
and
right.
sort of
Heading over to DC.
They sort of molded their company around him for so long, and I think him not being there, they have to refresh. You know?
But in all honesty, who's taking up the gap? I mean, that void that's there.
There's a few guys over there.
Who would you say has that
Jason
same
Aaron, I think he's the one. I mean, he's the guy that's impressed me the most.
Okay.
You know, they got other guys like Nick Spencer who's, doing the Cap stuff for quite a while. And
but on the same level, you think? As
they're gonna make a star
Yeah.
out of somebody for sure.
someone will emerge.
Someone will emerge.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, I don't know if he will be at that level, but that was a big, that's a shift.
Yeah.
In the industry for sure.
Essentially, it's up to the fans at the end of the day. I mean,
And I think
who they
the
root
first
for.
thing he does when he goes back is like, okay, Superman's getting his trunks back. That's exactly what every fanboy wants to hear.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
he's gonna be like Superman when I was a kid. Yeah,
It all came down to
You know,
shorts.
It all came down to shorts. That's gonna save the comic book industry. Is underwears.
That's awesome. That's
It's
awesome.
crazy. Let's just get right to. You saw the Solo trailer?
The Solo trailer.
Han Solo movie?
Of course. Oh, I only watched
Yeah,
it like
it took you a minute there. You're like,
I
what are
dazed
you
out,
talking
yeah.
about?
yeah. Han Solo. Got him. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I love the throwbacks to all of the future films and all of the tiny things that they put into that trailer, because the trailers have become fodder, eh?
Yeah.
People just analyze them and
Disney taking that franchise, man.
Yeah.
That was just
you're speechless.
People get scared when a big company like that is going to take something they love so much.
I know.
But I find that with Marvel and Star Wars, they've just been on point.
Yeah.
It's just
Sorry.
ridiculous.
I know they're going to be haters out there, but I love everything they're doing right now with all my favorite. And I
don't see what there is to complain about, to be honest.
I may be one of the few in the far part, but I have to tell you, I don't care whether it's Transformers or G.I. Joe or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. These are iconic shows from my youth, right? They can't do wrong as far as I'm concerned. I'm just happy to see these things.
Me too.
Reach the big screen, and I'm a hardcore fan that way.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, even the ones that come out, and I was saying this to Rockman, the last, like, I'm a fan right away, and they have to work to make me not like what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? And that's just how I am. I have to. I go in wanting to like it, and then
it's a mindset. That's all it is.
That's exactly it.
And
I don't understand these people that they'll see a trailer and they'll just troll it.
I know. But I know how much work goes into making.
Another thing.
It's a big deal. And if you ever had the chance to work on a set or a production or a television show, and you watch all of the hands, nobody wakes up with the intention of making shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly it.
Everyone wakes up with the intention of doing their best job. And you look at the credits in a film or a television show. That's the appreciation, that we as fans can have for all of the hands.
I think that's another thing too, is that we've sort of been behind the scenes. So to speak.
Okay. We've seen the other side of the curtain.
We've seen the other side of the curtain, and we know how hard it is. And I think that
you're working
is something
16
that a lot of these fans
may not. Be able to
I love you guys out there, but sometimes you guys don't realize how hard it is to make these things and how hard people work.
Yeah, and they all have the best of intentions, and these are group projects. Yeah. People have to understand this is the equivalent of you as an individual trying to have a home built. Yeah. And dealing with specialists in every possible corner and hoping that you have something that stands up with four walls at the end of the day, right? And you're dealing with personalities and egos and agendas. Mm-hmm. So the fact that anything gets made, the Panther movie was done and completed and wasn't in limbo.
Keep in mind that Wesley Snipes wanted to make Black Panther.
Trust me, man.
Back when he was in the Blade days.
Wesley Snipes is coming back hard.
I think I just want him to show up on like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something and just be like, it would freak people out.
I know.
Because I think he can look exactly the same as he did in like 2001.
I think Wesley Snipes is Blade. I'm pretty sure.
He wakes up in the morning and he's Blade. He's got to work to be Wesley Snipes.
I think he throws kisses at his cars in the morning.
It's too funny because when I met Jason Momoa at Comic-Con, I just went to go get a autograph for my aunt. Yeah. And I figured I'll just meet this guy at the same time.
And he was hanging with your aunt, right?
Well, no, she wasn't there, but I wouldn't be surprised because every time I see this guy at a comic convention, he is Conan, he is Aquaman. Wow. Like you look in the room and you're just like, whoa,
he's a big guy.
Where's Khaleesi? Like you feel like you're part of that world, when you see this guy, because he looks deal. Like he does on TV,
And he's married to Lisa Bonet, so props across the board.
He definitely lives his life like he'll show up in his like hat that looks like it was from the Amazon jungle, and he has this like, I swear to God, he has this like wood MP3 player stand at comic book conventions, right?
Okay.
And it's like made of wood, and he sets his phone in there, and he plays.
What are you talking about, bro?
Plays rockabilly music.
Are you serious?
Yeah. As he's signing autographs, he's just like, he's got to be cool everywhere he is. Like, dude, he is cool. And next to him was right next to him was from Firefly. I can't remember her name for the life of me. the mechanic girl from Firefly.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know her name.
She's Kitty Pryde. Every time I see her, she's Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Kitty Pryde every time I see her. So literally, she's next to him, and she's like grooving to his music,
That's
and
so
I'm
cool.
just like, am I in a movie right now? Like,
It's surreal bumping into them at shows.
yeah. That's always probably one of my favorite things is running into celebrities in the most random ways.
I bumped into the actor who played Flash Gordon.
The original.
The original Flash Gordon. And he still looks like Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, dude, I was passing by, the Long Beach Comic Expo was closing, and I just had to go by and shake his hand, and like, dude.
That's what I really love about the cons too, is that they try to like be really like, you can't get to these celebrities, but you know, I always kind of find a way.
And when the lights are going down, you can walk up to anyone.
And they're so cool about it.
Yeah, they're so cool, yeah. So stay until the end of the show, folks.
Yeah, definitely hang around and be like weird about it.
And be chill. Be chill.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Be chill. So I mean, that's enough for the hot topics. We're gonna talk about the amazingness that's going on with you and your short film.
Amazingness.
Amazingness.
I'll take it.
Red Ruby.
Amazing. I'll take it.
I mean, this thing, you've been taking it around to how many shows now?
We have done something like 26 festivals that it's played in.
That's work, man. That's
wow.
Yeah.
We're very, very lucky, very, very blessed. The cast and crew deserve all of the credit and the fame, you know, because it really was a project of just sheer joy.
right.
You know what I mean? Of love. And everyone went to bat. They went out of their way. They pulled out all the stops. And they've waited a long time to see it actually come into fruition. I took my time. It's been about 3.5 years from the date I shot it to its emergence.
Right.
And once it hit the festival circuit in 2017, it was immediately embraced by people in the film world, which is fantastic. And now we're about to start a new wave of festivals that are comic book based.
Sweet.
So
to tell people sort of what it's about and what.
Red Ruby.
Because I've seen it and I still need you to kind of help me.
Well,
because it's great film, but it's a little.
It's layered.
It's in the twisted mind of you, man.
Somebody actually, very thankfully, compared my work to like a young David Cronenberg, and I was like, "Thank you." I was just. It made my month to hear that, you know?
I'm sure. That's amazing.
I started off as a comic book concept, and once I realized I had the resources to actually make a film, I adapted it into short story, because I write short stories in my downtime. And I just wanted to get the full concept down, and it went from short story to a script, and it was a full feature, full length. It was called The Last Grimm.
Okay.
All right. And it primarily focused on Ruby's brother. And as a scientist who was tapping into the subconscious mind, the dreamscape. And he found a drug that allows us to enter a new realm. And there are creations of our own making that exist on this realm. And he realized that this was something that the family had created, his father before him, and this door was opened, and now these things had come through. And he spent the better part of his life trying to protect our world from these things coming through. And because the drug was so toxic, he couldn't make any more passages, you know, and he knew that his sister existed somewhere in the dreamscape, and the idea was to hack the memory of her, bring her through, as his blood was just so toxic he couldn't go back in, and have her continue the fight for him. So she was literally the last Grimm. And of course, I got slapped with some cold water on my face and realized there was no way to do this story.
Yeah.
So it was just too expensive. And so I adapted it again, took the last few pages of that story and created the next chapter of The Last Grimm, which was as his sister comes through into our world, what might her story be? And that was
it's
a 20-minute film.
It's a crazy concept, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just what were some of the reactions just from the different
Well, just to go back to what you were asking.
Yeah.
The movie itself, Red Ruby, is about a girl who wakes up in her brother's apartment
Right.
with all of his memories, with access to all of his tools, and realizes that her brother had an agenda to wipe out these things. And she's the natural heir to this fight. But she's suffering from a mental illness. And of course, this story is transpiring in her head and outside of her head at the same time. So she's not quite sure if she's losing her mind. But she knows as she tackles these entities, she regains a piece of her sanity. So her brother sets her up with these beings that give her enough skill and power and knowledge to tackle these demons on other realms of existence. And Ruby is someone who was never born and never died. Right? She was conceived, actually not quite conceived. Her mother died in the forest with her still in utero. So this drug, Red One, allows people to be connected. And once people are connected, their thoughts and their pasts are connected. You can hack someone else's memory and bring someone back. So Ruby's blood is Red One, and she can move in between these realms at will. So that was the tricky part. The scary part was actually realizing I was making a film that was a continuation of a comic book. But I knew the comic book would be much easier to make, and the film would take longer for obvious reasons. So
insane, man. Like just like
it's been well received. We've won like 13 Screen Awards, with Geek Fest being
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like when I see the poster, it's just like all the things you've won, and it's I'm proud, man. Like it's crazy.
Well, the cast did a great job. Amber Goldfarb, which is our lead actress. I know you're going to have her on the show.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get her on the show.
She'd be happy to come.
She was also part of, I met her years ago when she worked as Elektra on Punisher Warzone.
That's right.
Warzone?
I think it was, yeah.
Warzone, yeah. And
Sean was on that film too.
Sean was on that film too, and I've known those two for quite a bit. And they've become pretty good friends over the years.
They were awesome. I worked at Ubisoft for a bit, and I didn't know that both of them had histories.
They're like the pros that come in
on the mocap stage.
They're the mocap, yeah.
And when I saw them, we were working on a game, a Ubi game, and I saw them on the stage. I was like, "Holy crap! Our worlds are so small." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
We were always one big family. I just didn't.
It's crazy that just doing this for a few years, writing and going to conventions and meeting these people.
Yeah. You realize there was a small degree of separation.
How close the community is.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call the community.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the Montreal geek community or the showbiz community,
because we all love
or
comics.
The two.
We're all in comic book related media. We're all in sort of video games in one form or another. You're in video games.
Yeah.
I remember we had a chance to work together on a game really early on.
Games. I was a QA on a few games. Yeah. 2-3 games.
So we're all sort of traveling in different circles, but sort of like the same medium. Yeah. You know what I mean? Same mediums. So when I had a chance to cast Amber, I mean, I was just so lucky because she was so good at the physical stuff, the martial arts, and also she brought this level of emotional currency to the role, which was so necessary because Ruby is a character that's losing her mind, and she has to deal with the fear of going through this. And she has no personality, don't forget. So Ruby's power, so to speak, is that she merges other people's minds. This was a project for me that involved my love for science fiction and quantum physics. And the overlying question was, what would happen if the universe were to collapse? What would be the mechanism in play? And that's how I came up with Red Ruby's character. Wow. You know, and that's Amber's role. So the people she takes on, she moves between their personas and uses their skill sets, you know, throughout the narrative. Yeah. So it won't be completely obvious in this film, but I have to lay the groundwork in the comics.
And that's I think, and you know, you were saying about the media and how everything has to sort of be, you know, one thing. Yeah. You know, and you know, it's becoming a more apparent thing, I find, as things go on.
And at the same time, for anyone taking on this transmedia mindset, and I advise everyone to try it. If you're in the arts, you know, hook up with a friend that does music, a DJ, whatever it is, and somebody who makes T-shirts and
actually
put out something, you know?
The brother is Howard
Rosenstein. Yeah.
He's also part of another transmedia thing that I was involved with, Heroes of the North.
Well, actually, I faked out the audience by making them believe that was the brother. That was just part of her. Oh. Yeah. I faked you out too.
You faked me out too, man. You got me too.
Well, it was just part of the narrative because the whole film is narrated by Ruby.
Right.
Amber's character. And it just so happens, as she's talking about her brother, Howard's character, which is a sensei, and a vampire, is chomping on her neck. Right. And we come to learn that Ruby is actually freeing people who have been abused by these powerful characters, you know, and Howard happens to be one of these manifestations.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's another person that I've met years ago, and
super cool guy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
we're always running into each other in the weirdest places, and he sees me and he's like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?"
I'm hoping to bring the whole cast back for the sequel.
Would be phenomenal. So yeah, you are working on the next installment,
the next chapter. It's going to be called Red Ruby Fallout.
Okay.
And we have a bunch of transmedia projects that are going to come out in between the two films. Okay. So we can keep the narrative flowing, and that'll consist of some comic strips that I'll do weekly, and we're going to cap off every week of comic strips with one or two audio, I call them audio comics, as a continuation of that week's series. Right. So we stay in that same universe. Wow. And right now we're going to be taping about 40 episodes.
Crazy,
to go along with the strips. And of course, there's the comic book prequel that sets up the film and the anthology later. So,
wow, really looking forward to it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Right now, it's all about AC.
Do you have ideas for other films after, and all kinds of things you want to work on?
Well, funny you should ask. Today, I put the final touches on my next short film.
Okay.
It's going to be called Factory.
Okay.
That's just a working title for now, but basically it'll be a film that has a very strong Russian vibe to it.
Okay.
And it'll actually, a lot of it will be in Russian and translated in English.
Okay. Maybe hacking elections?
No, it's much more nefarious.
Okay. Okay.
And there's one more film I have to do just before I tackle Ruby, and that is I've been speaking to the AC, the Assassin's Creed fan clubs, the heads of all the clubs.
Nice.
And I threw it out there. You know, I really love, I've worked for Ubisoft for the last few years, and I really love everything they've done for me. And I want to show my appreciation to them for taking such good care of my family, and for the fans' support. Like, they really embraced me.
Yeah.
And I asked them if they would like to see a fan film, an AC fan film done. And across the board, it was unanimous. People really want to see something. So,
I've been for the past 10 years playing these games. Like I've played everyone, like pretty much everyone. So I'm sort of a big part of this too, and it's really
so you'd like
crazy.
to see one too?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've done little things over the years, but
yeah.
I think what's cool about that universe is that you could go anywhere, any time frame.
Yeah.
It could be in, any sort of genre and scenario, and it sort of can fit into their universe.
I was brought on to the Assassin's Creed universe through the game, right? And I think I did Unity back in the day, and I worked on something previous to that.
Okay.
But
what was the first one that you was it Unity?
I think it was Unity. I know I did some Rainbow Six stuff, but I had a very short stint on an Assassin's Creed piece. Okay. I couldn't tell you. I have the boards for it still, but from Unity we graduated to Origins, the last game to come out, and I worked on that for about a year and a half.
Right.
But while I was on that, I got a chance to impress the fine folks at Brand. And my good friends, Amar and Anouk. And if you're out there, shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were kind enough to introduce me to the people at Titan.
Right.
And Titan then signed off on bringing me on to Assassin's Creed Uprising.
Yeah.
So in the day, I would work on the video games.
Right.
And then I would run across town at night and work until 2 a.m. on the books.
And the Titan people, they're working here in Montreal?
No, actually, they're in the UK.
Okay.
They're in London.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, my old stomping ground.
Wow.
So it does look like I'll be.
Did you get a
trip
chance to sort of with the film that came out a couple of years ago? Did you get a chance? Because I know the game kind of interweaves in the sort of the there's references to the film and the game.
Yeah, but at the same time,
spoiling too much.
But at the same time, it's I personally love the film. They gave us an advanced screening at the time, and I loved it. I think it was for a different generation. That's the feeling I got watching it. I felt like, wait a minute, I might be a little too old for this. You know what I mean? It has a punchy feel to it. Almost like Michael Bay-ish, and I was like, okay,
I know what you mean.
I get it. The historical piece, it's like they wet your tongue, you know what I mean? And it had enough resonance to keep the true diehard fans and to open the franchise up to a whole new generation. I thought that was brilliant. So I look forward to seeing where they go next.
Sure. First of all, I mean, Origins is just,
dude,
it's
addicted.
It's one of the biggest and most beautiful games.
I think the last time I looked at my screen, my sign-in screen, my boot up screen, I think I was at 150 hours or something.
It's something like that.
I'm playing the game for the sake of playing the game now, just because.
Do you just end up exploring and looking around? And
I was telling you before we set up, I just stand on like mountaintops and beaches and just take in the vistas.
I love how you could just get lost in the desert. It's just you're in the desert, just a vast desert. It actually feels like, maybe you can actually confirm with me, it feels accurate to the size of Egypt.
I'll tell you something. When I'm climbing down something, I always forget the scale that these guys worked in. And everything just seems much further away. Everything is grand, and it has that Star Wars feel.
It actually feels as big as Egypt for me. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Right. Well, you could always fast track, right? You know that.
No, I know. I know that you could you don't have to go
jump the map. But it's fun actually taking a boat and spending the next
crazy.
10
you
minutes.
Actually learn stuff like with the bugs.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah.
The bugs that starts raining bugs. And I'm like, that's got to be real because it's so weird.
Well,
to
this day, I finished the hidden ones, the DLC.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be.
That was actually really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
The folks that made that, kudos to the DLC. It really is.
Well, and the whole relationship between Aya and Bayek, the two main characters. I mean, I love it, and I love the fact that because I'm not an avid player for the most part, but I love the fact that while I was playing the game, my wife got a chance to experience a game that had a narrative that was very
video games now
beautiful like this.
They feel like you spend so much time with these characters.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful people. I don't know if the real actors look like that or not, but they're beautiful human beings.
The actors are amazing. I had a chance to meet some of them, and they're just great people, and they're so professional, and they work so well on the mocap stage.
Yeah, I've got a chance to meet the Watch Dogs guys. They're just like the coolest guys in the world.
I'm telling you.
And Sean introduced me to them. And really awesome. The research involved with that game, that must have been crazy.
I know they took on the task of researching all of the stuff that went into that game years before we came on.
Okay.
And I remember the feeling of sitting down on my first day, the first month really, and looking through folders and folders and folders of the most awesome imagery I'd ever seen in my life, and realizing that these images were fully rendered, by a lot of the incredible concept artists that they have working, and costumes and the scope, the scale, the architecture. It's amazing.
Like, when it comes up to like the Sphinx, and it's like that must be real. That it's that size. It's smaller than you imagine. You always imagine it to be like this big thing, and it's. I mean, you can scale it easy in the game, but he even says like it's smaller than I imagined. And,
but when you see the concept work, when I came in, the first few days was just about digesting all of the material that was set in place for the entire team, and under the design vision of Raphael Lacoste, and he was our art director. And my God, it was just his work is just beautiful. And Martin, who works with him, and some of the other concept artists, they had done such amazing, fully rendered pieces of how they interpreted Egypt in that period. And when we were brought on, really, the universe was very much defined, and we were bringing a different edge to a different angle, the cinematic department, and really creating stories for the characters to exist in this.
So you worked on basically the storyboards and stuff.
I storyboarded all of the cinematics for all of the cutscenes that you had a part to play, and also all of the side quest stuff. That. All those little stories where you stop and you know those exclamation marks that you find.
Little kid comes up and he's just like,
well, whatever those exclamation marks were that you investigated, or even the investigations themselves, they had to be completely, storyboarded and fleshed out. And so my job was to actually create a story. Working with the writers. And create something visually interesting for you to explore.
It's crazy that like somebody that actually knows so well, and I was like up 3 a.m. playing this thing.
Well, whenever you do a side quest, think of me, please.
Yeah, whenever you get really frustrated at the game, this is the guy to get angry.
or main quest.
And it must be great to see the reaction to the game.
I think they're winning a few awards too. That's what I've seen.
Well, I mean, it's the best game that I played in last year.
I'm still addicted, and I played the damn game. And I'm hardcore addicted to it. So
it's been, for me, it's been Injustice and that game. Those are the two games that I've just been crazy about.
And then for a long time, I was a Halo guy.
Oh yeah, for
right.
Sure.
And just because of the experiences around playing that game with other people, but I took Origins as a completely solo adventure. Because I just wanted to experience that. It's very cool
too, because people that haven't played any of the games, you can pick this one up because it's the first Assassin's Creed. And by the way, the actually how they explained the logo, I geeked out like crazy. When I realized that, that was a really huge moment.
And the impetus for the main character, for Bayek's Like we went back and forth trying to figure out what his raison d'etre was. You know what I mean? What drives him? What motivates him? And I can't think of a more horrific, origin story for a character to live through.
Yeah.
You know, in my mind, he was a much, much darker character.
Yeah.
You know, but thank God they
and I imagine that these
down,
guys, these Medjais existed, right?
I would think
the
so.
The whole time I was playing it, I'm like, this has to have been a real thing.
But think about it, because
they're like superheroes.
They had to live on both sides of the same line, right?
Yeah.
So they're protector and sort of police of the common folk, and yet they're serving a higher order and sort of like a colony of oppressors. You know what I mean? So they straddle this line.
You can see that struggle through the whole game.
Right, exactly.
And he sees just how
you have some people that will turn on you.
Yeah.
Once the system goes sideways.
Yeah.
Like, you're that guy who always, you could have helped us. And on the other side, people will see him as their liberator. Yeah. So I love that.
Were you involved with the hippos? Those crazy hippos, man, because those hippos are crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
and I didn't know hippos were
they the most dangerous animal in the world?
I didn't know that.
In the world.
So I'm like playing the game, and I'm just like, hey, a hippo, and then they go crazy on you.
They go batshit crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting asked from all that. You got asked to work on the Uprising, the comic book.
Yes. Through the grace of Anouk Bachman and Amar, the fine folks at Brand, they were gracious enough to introduce me to the Titan folks, and who then thankfully signed off on me being the series artist for Uprising, Assassin's Creed Uprising.
And how exactly is that game or comic book connect to because it's a modern day?
That's right.
Which is something that me and my friends have always wanted, is a modern day Assassin's Creed game.
That's right. I think we've all wanted it.
Yeah. So how does this merge into the games?
Well, I mean, it has all of the signature attractions, and in that the Templars are still very heavy in play, and you have all of these objects, these artifacts that people want to dominate mankind, and you have this really cool element, this young, rebellious, and what drew me to the comic book, widely diverse group of individuals. You know what I mean? It's just this rainbow, different nationalities, and they're all trying to sort of find how they fit together, and all sort of channeling their efforts through their main character, Charlotte, Charlotte's ancestors, and the quest to beat the Templars to these objects, obviously. So their efforts are. It's nice because it reminds me of those days when I used to read Teen Titans.
Yeah.
The George Perez days.
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of the best, the pinnacle of teen books.
Yeah.
And it just has that quality to it. And we get to explore their connections, their relationships, and of course, this new element with a Templar assassin association as they go forward and find this mutual enemy, and that ties into Juno's existence. So, and the fans are crazy about Juno, of course.
Yeah. It's crazy that it's really cool that they're putting the game, breaching the game's storyline. It's such a in-depth
and opening it
story.
up to a new audience and a new generation. But they still have that past element, which is nice.
Yeah.
But we have that modern day flavor that everyone's been dying to get to get a taste of.
You've worked in comics and sort of in film and comics and interweaved in and out of it for so long. Is there still something out there that that's something you really want to do?
And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen on Ruby.
It seems like you make your dreams happen, man. Out of everybody that I know,
I'm a hustler. I mean, that's what hustlers do, right?
Yeah.
You while everyone else is asleep,
yeah,
you're working. I mean, that's a game changer right there.
Yeah.
For anybody who has any success at following their dreams, you have to work when everyone else is at the pub, at the movie, watching Game of Thrones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that cements the groundwork for, as you say, these dream jobs or these exotic adventures where you get to try your hand at different mediums. And like people still don't understand how I was able to draw a comic book, edit a film, you know what I mean? Work on a video game.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was like, on my weekends, I was working for X-Men. You know what I mean? So how's that possible? I don't sleep. That's it.
Yeah. So, you taught me that. I have to say that, just work pays off.
Yeah. Hard work pays off. But then you play hard.
Doing all-nighters.
Yeah. You do a few all-nighters and then, you play hard.
Yeah.
You play some Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you go on a binge and when you can, you get back to that dream job, and it does pay off.
Yeah. And lastly, you mentioned it real quick. You worked on the X-Men movies, man. The last two or three?
Last two.
Right. Apocalypse and the one that has not come out yet.
Dark Phoenix.
We're probably not allowed to talk about.
Dark Phoenix,
but, and you actually worked on Quicksilver's cast. You actually made it, right?
Yeah, on the last film, it's really weird, but when you have other jobs and you get offered as a freelancer, these dream gigs, I would have loved to have been available, but I was working on Assassin's Creed at that time. I took on this last film, and so I could only do like a bunch of storyboards on the weekends.
Right.
I think I only got one or two main scenes.
It's still cool that they came to you, though.
It's nice, yeah. I wish I had more time to to give.
Because I know, we've been X-Men fans for
forever,
our lives, So I mean, and it's cool that did they come to you for that reason, or did they come for you just because you're the guy to come to in this town?
There are a few of us that have been storyboarding here in Montreal for a bit, and I'm one of the few that's been lucky enough to attract some of the American productions when they come through. So it's the same people that work at these production houses, and so they remember you. And they give you a call. Now,
I was watching the movie the other day. Actually, it was on. Happened to be on TV. Apocalypse. And the cast scene came up, and I paused it a few times.
It's only like 2 seconds, maybe a second and a half. I know,
but there's a drawing on there. Who is that on the?
Is
it one of the characters?
Okay, so let me set it up. I was working on a contract. I can't remember what it was. I think it was. I was working for something for a company called CMJ, where we dealt with. Help me out. The criminal element, the most notorious criminals of all time. Al Capone and
right.
And so I was on that for about 7 months, and while I was on that, the X-Men came to me and asked me if I would decorate a cast for Quicksilver's broken leg. Right? Because Apocalypse was such a bad boy.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, sure, I'd love to. And so I spent some time working.
That must have been like immediate. Yes,
hands down. Working with the props master, it scared the crap out of me, by the way, doing this. Because I realized that I would have to do several versions of the cast, right? But as it turns out, because of time constraints, I only had to do one. So I spent an entire weekend drawing elements on Quicksilver's cast as if they were done by X-Men. Right?
That's exactly what it looks like. So, like I saw a Roro on there.
Well, I think I did a bunch of cool stuff. I mean, he was a big video game fan.
Right.
And so there were video game elements there. Yeah. There was
That's cool. You have to also make it from part of the time, the 80s. Right?
Yeah, they had like a sort of like a Betty Boop type character.
Yeah.
Snaking down the side.
Yeah.
I did like a fake shoe at the bottom. Stars, planes, creatures, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I signed the hell out of it. So
yeah. Do you remember some of the characters that are on it?
It's funny because it was a really amazing learning experience for me because I realized that I wanted to put elements on the cast that were reflective of characters that were owned by different studios.
Yeah, of course.
And I couldn't. Like, I really wanted.
They should have given you a list of who you could use.
Yeah, so I got immediately,
Obviously, the characters that are in the movie, right? So, like, Jubilee and Storm.
Well, yeah, I could reflect those characters, but at the time, I think I wanted to reflect his sister. Oh, yeah. And his sister, because that would be the first person to sign his cast, right? So, I think
she's a little girl.
She would have been, but she wasn't present.
No.
In that universe at that time. So that only came later in the Avengers films, right? So, so it was great to learn sort of what I could and what I couldn't do based on the company dynamic.
Yeah.
And the props master was like really, really happy with it. So she took a picture of the actor in the cast with singer.
Right.
And gave it to me. So.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. So you never got a chance to meet him?
This is Mr. Singer?
Evan
the actor. Yeah. No, I never got a chance.
That's cool. Did you get to actually come across anybody from the film?
I was on a full-time gig, so I couldn't. I couldn't go. I had access, but I just didn't have the time.
That's not fair, man.
But on the second film,
you could have had your bro spot for you, and it'd be my dream to go on the X-Men set.
But it's funny when I go to get the job, I have a chance to sometimes walk past the sets.
Yeah.
So twice I've been in Xavier's mansion. And had to walk through the halls and stuff like that, but I didn't get a chance to.
I actually just quickly like trying to find ways as a media.
Okay.
And I know it's probably impossible, but
you mean what? To be part of
to visit the set?
Forget it.
I need to finish.
Never gonna happen. Security will tackle you a mile.
I probably know people
out.
in security. Anyway, just if the Fox people or whoever owns it now are listening, there's a guy that you need to have on set, and he's really cool.
I still have really.
He can interview your cast.
I have really big dreams of directing a Marvel film. I hope it comes to pass, but I have to prove myself, I guess.
I guess we can't know anything about Phoenix, right?
That's never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. But of course,
I wrote it down just in case. Ask him. Just ask him.
You can ask. But there are guys dressed in black waiting outside this door. It's
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
All I can say is it's gonna rock your world.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my.
Because we haven't seen too much.
No. But I mean, if you're watching television and following the, what's happening. And in the X-Men universe, I mean, you're just going to be shocked. You're going to love it.
Okay. Yeah. I have a friend that happened to be working on Mount Royal when they were filming.
Yeah,
and
they took over the city.
She saw Quicksilver real quick in his uniforms. Oh, don't arrest me.
It's going to be amazing. It's funny
me when I say as long as they're wearing those uniforms they're wearing at the end of the last movie, I'm going to be happy.
We grew up reading those books.
Loved that. Yeah, we did. I mean, X-Men that was my thing growing up. I identified with them more than maybe any other comic.
Hands down. Right? They were the other guy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. They weren't
the anti-heroes.
When I remember when I was a little kid, looking at X-Men comic books, they didn't quite look like superheroes. They didn't quite look like the same characters that were on Super Friends or even Spider-Man or even any of those characters.
Yeah.
They looked like villains.
Exactly. And never fully respected.
Look at Nightcrawler and Rogue and Wolverine.
But they had
Colossus. They look like maybe they're not good people.
But they had this amazing dynamic that's reflective of so many minority communities.
That's another thing.
They have their infighting. Amongst themselves, some wanting advancement for different reasons, and others feeling that their presence, their culture, should be respected. And
they're from different parts of the world, and it's really.
I'm really
good.
excited to see what Marvel does.
I mean,
once the marriage between the Avengers universe and the X-Men universe collide, what is that dynamic going to be?
I know. It seems like it's almost too much to
imagine.
To imagine,
because I'll be honest with you, I don't remember that clash in the books. I remember They were like two ships that passed in the night.
Yeah, I mean, now and then you would see one of the characters cross over.
I do remember
the characters cross over.
the
or
respect
you'd see
that-
Spider-Man show up in a
Yeah, I do remember the respect that Professor X and Captain America had for each other. But beyond that,
Whenever they did meet up, it was almost like they didn't like each other right away.
it was a parent-child relationship.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
we're the heroes, quote unquote,
For sure.
and you're the subordinates. You know what I mean?
for sure.
But there was always a trust issue. I remember.
Yeah.
You know, because of the public persona of the X-Men.
Exactly. The
know,
X-Men were always sort of seen as bad guys.
That's right.
And the
That's
good
right.
guys didn't quite
That's right.
trust them.
Yeah,
And
but
that
in
was always a
order-
cool dynamic.
In order for that universe to run its gamut,
Yeah.
the Avengers universe would have to recognize their own mutant situation
Exactly.
and have that reflected in the X-Men universe.
Exactly.
You know?
And there's so many, I really have no idea how they're going to do it. Yeah.
Well, Quicksilver was part of the X-Men for a bit. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, the Avengers for a bit.
Yes, exactly.
And
I
that
don't
was
think-
my favorite
I
period.
think they might have to reboot the X-Men universe
That
into
would
their
be good
universe.
stuff. That would be good
and
stuff.
establish the twins as mutants.
Yeah.
Because they didn't quite do that.
Right.
And they're
Right.
going to have to do that, I think.
But that was my favorite age of comics. I think it came before we embraced it. It came like a generation before us. But reading back to that golden age of
There was a team that was comprised completely. It was like Captain America and all former villains. It was like Hawkeye, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and he came out. And he was like, "These are my new Avengers." And
These are West
the
Coast
public
guys,
was
right?
like, "What?"
yeah.
They were like with Magneto last month.
But can you
know?
imagine a West Coast Avengers film?
I thought about that
series?
I've been thinking about that for quite a bit.
Well, now you
actually.
bring Captain Marvel on.
Now
This
they
is
have
a strong possibility.
Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and
Quicksilver.
Spider-Man. I think are going to be like the three that are the most prominent.
Well, Quicksilver died in this Avengers
Yeah, Quicksilver
universe.
can't
Yeah,
be in it.
That's right.
Sadly,
yeah.
but
Scarlet Witch can.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun now.
my favorite, Wonder Man. Please bring Wonder Man.
You
to
know
the
he
screen.
was supposed to. They were supposed to have posters in Guardians of the Galaxy
For
on
Wonder Man?
Earth and Simon Williams movies.
Yes.
And it was like Tony Stark the movie, and it was Nathan Fillion.
I love that. I love that.
And
I love
Nathan
that.
Fillion, and I've seen him in person. He could play the part. He
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
It's got to be funny,
Yeah.
and that would be a good idea for a show or something. For that.
He's the booster goal of that universe, right?
He's the
Yeah.
You didn't take him too seriously. But
yeah, exactly.
it was fun, man. There's a lot of possibilities,
I
and
know.
then if people think that Marvel's, shot its load, they have not. There is still a
This
lot
is
of
second
characters.
gear for them.
There's still a lot of characters.
I think
that
Black
I'd like to
Panther
see.
is going to launch the franchise into a completely different sphere. Now that they know, wait a minute, people of all colors, can sell tickets.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute,
White Tiger.
we can go in different realms now.
Moon Knight, I think it's still another one that they could do.
And if they're uncomfortable or unsure about how it'll play out on the cinematic scene, right? We have a brand new platform that we can play with now with the VOD and Netflix type stuff, and you know what I mean.
That's another thing that they're doing really phenomenal.
Yeah, I pray to God I can direct one of these one day.
You're on the road, man.
Yeah,
Like I think definitely we'll be talking. Have you on again when you're, directing.
You remember when Power Man and Iron Fist came out as an actual team in the books?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
and then when I saw them on the screen together, fighting together.
Yeah.
That was a moment, for me. That was a moment for me. And a lot of people probably watched it and just kept going.
Freeze. Just take a breath.
I literally froze, took my Instagram picture, and I was ready to go.
That was my favorite Marvel character.
So anyway,
of all time.
man, I just would like to say, after all said and done, thank you very much. Not just for today, but for the years of just being my buddy
and being in the trenches together.
And just you sort of mentored me a little bit. So I thank you for that.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure.
and,
Whatever I was able to pass on.
Whatever I'm doing now.
We've been bros for a long
what's
time.
next? It's because of you, man.
Thanks,
so I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Definitely.
Honored to do my part.
And I think that'll
And
be it.
you've been one of the best friends I've ever had in the world. So
Oh, thanks, man.
you know what I mean. I don't carry a lot of friends, so I'm always too busy and stuff. But you've had my back more times than I can count. So God bless you, bro.
Oh, thanks, man.
Cool.
Same goes to you. Okay, so that'll be the end of this
No tears.
episode.
No tears.
And thanks everybody for listening. And Red Ruby.
Yes.
How can we see it? Where can we see it?
Okay,
What's
right
gonna
now,
happen?
Red Ruby is on the Geek Fest Film Festival circuit, which means you just need to go to their site or go on any one of my Red Ruby social media sites, which is on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or on my personal page.
Right.
And just follow everything we're doing. We're going to be at a bunch of comic book festivals over the course of the year. I know we might do Ontario, California in May, and I know there's a Hawaii Con, there's Rhode Island.
We got to hit that one.
There's another Long Beach Con, and maybe Stanley at the end of the year.
Yeah, the Kamikaze.
Yeah, so come out, show your support. It's a voting system. At Long Beach Comic Book Expo, we were lucky enough to win Best Short, thanks to the fans. Thank you to all of you guys that supported us, and we hope to share the film with more people.
Beautiful, man. Well, thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
And that'll be it for now.
Cool.
Thanks, man.